Good afternoon and a warm welcome to all the crypto buddies. This is Rekha Khan, your host for the webinar. And today we have with us Mr. Piyush Bhatia, expert in the Metaverse and Web 3.0 space. Today we are going to be talking about mastering the Metaverse and Web 3.0. On joining, you would all notice that you are on mute. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please write them on the chat section. The end of the webinar, we would be holding a Q&A session where all the queries of the participants would be answered by Piyush. From the creator of Vote in MCX and IEX, here is yet another credible and exchange-neutral platform a user can rely on while walking towards the path of crypto and blockchain understanding. Starting from education to knowledge to all the latest news, all covered under one super app 3.0 verse. CryptoWire has been changed to 3.0 verse. From a novice to a professional trader, every market participant can have a slice of information readily available on the touch of their fingers. Let me first take you through the 3.0 University, 3.0 TV, and 3.0 Wire service. We all know that crypto and blockchain ecosystem is emerging at an immense speed, and to keep a track of all the events, prices, and news look to be difficult. So what if we have an app like our buddy? Yes, our own crypto super app 3.0 verse. Now, let me take you through the app briefly. Let's start with the homepage of the app, which covers all the three pillars: 3.0 University, 3.0 TV, and 3.0 Wire. Under the 3.0 Wire services, we've rolled out India's first global index of cryptos, IC15. It tracks the performance of the top 15 cryptocurrencies globally based on market capitalization. Crypto enthusiasts and crypto traders can take informed decisions based on IC15. We've also launched Ether 15. Coming to WireWatch, in this section, you can monitor the best exchange to buy and the best exchange to sell a particular cryptocurrency. In the center of the screen, you can monitor the arbitrage opportunity available between the two exchanges for the same cryptocurrency. There are more than 400 plus cryptocurrencies listed on our platform, along with 70 plus crypto exchanges worldwide. Coming to 3.0 TV, it's an exclusive 24/7 IPTV covering everything on crypto and blockchain ecosystem. It's currently available in 4 different languages: English, Hindi, Gujarati, and Marathi. Our university, being the world's first digital university to offer courses on crypto and blockchain, you can find the best courses available on our platform at a single click of the app. With this, I would like to introduce our guest speaker today, Mr. Piyush. He is a media and tech veteran with over 15 years of experience in content, marketing, and building brands. Till recently, Piyush worked with RFox, a Metaverse, crypto, and blockchain startup, where he was the chief marketing officer and overhauled their marketing department, which yielded significant growth. Piyush started his career in the media industry as a producer at CNN IBM, helped launch TV stations for Star and Viacom 80. He then moved into the space of editorial and content strategy with Eros Now, an OTT platform, and later pivoted into marketing and growth. He has a vast experience in the blockchain space and deeply understands the Web 3.0 industry concepts, communication, and decentralized nature of the future. Hi, Piyush.
Hello. Rekha, last time I wanted to tell you that, hey, listen, we need to update my blurb to include the current scope of work as well.
Wow. Okay.
Hi, everyone. I currently work with Vault Hill. I had growth there. We are essentially a metaverse platform as well. Vault Hill is creating the world's first human-centric metaverse. And what we're essentially doing is, instead of taking the consumer route, we're taking a B2B route to achieve, to get more clients. We're essentially trying to offer brands an opportunity to create their own experiences in the metaverse in as little as 48 hours. So that's, I think, is a big differentiation in the metaverse. And that's something that I'm also excited to talk about future, in our chat today.
Fantastic. That's great. So today, unlike our regular sessions, we'll not be leading this session with PPTs and all that. We would want to have a live session where we have a few questions for Piyush, and Piyush will be giving his views in a very basic layman language for all our audiences. Right, Piyush?
Absolutely, and very happy to see people joining in even today. I know the last couple of months markets have obviously not been easy for all of us in the last 1 year, but after the entire FTX debacle, I mean, it's been a genuinely tough market for people to look at, and it's obviously led to a lot of negative sentiment across categories within the blockchain industry, right? And not just crypto, but even companies such as Metaverse companies are facing a little difficult time because of the overall negative sentiment in the market. So very happy to see some happy folks, hopefully smiling on the other end of the screen.
Sure, absolutely. We hope they are. So with all this fiasco and all this happening, we would want to know, will the metaverse allow us to live forever? That's the first question that I would want to ask you.
That's a one thing that I have not really deep dived into, simply because of how dystopian it is and it sounds, and how scary it sounds. I know for a fact that, let's take it step by step. When we say, will metaverse allow us to live forever, what exactly is living forever, right? You obviously, in your physical form, you can't live forever because, unlike the magic potion that has been sold in movies, there is nothing that we can drink as Amrit or elixir of life and live forever, right? Interestingly, my name is Piyush. The meaning of Piyush is Amrit, right? So theoretically, in our guns, Piyush is what lets you live forever. But that sad joke aside, the purpose of living forever essentially says that your some form of your memory or some form of your digital avatar will remain on the internet or on a server long after you have departed this world, right? So to this extent, will metaverse allow you to live forever? I think artificial intelligence will eventually allow you to do this. I know for a fact that Somnium, the metaverse company, was working on something similar. A couple of months ago, I think they announced also that they will allow users to upload massive amounts of personal data that will enable their AI to create a persona or an avatar of you that will essentially allow your loved ones to theoretically talk to you in whatever sense, if you want to call it, after your death. It's a little dystopian, though. I'm personally, very, very personally, not my professional opinion, but very personally, I'm not really sure what a massive value add this can do, apart from tie you down to roots that you should technically be letting go of. That's a circle of our life. But having said that, theoretically, it is possible. I don't want to call it living forever, but some amount of data from your life can be stored onto servers that can later be accessed by people, your loved ones, your colleagues, or anyone you want to give access to. And in that sense, yes, you could live for a longer time after you've
left fantastic.
In the metaverse. That's scary, though. I would urge you.
For some people it might be scary, and for some who don't want to let go their loved ones, for them it's really a boon.
But just to delve into that point, I think it's the loved ones who don't want to let go, right? Because from your perspective, even if you've left some data of your life on a server, you really can't access it, right? Because you are dead. So
absolutely,
you are not in control of that data at all. Now that data can take some shape or form basis how it's interfacing with whoever is accessing it. But for all intents and purposes, you are technically still gone.
Absolutely. But still, it's a great development, and with these kind of developments, now I would want to know what technology stays behind the metaverse. So what are these technologies which are involved, which is the reason why we are getting so much of, things that we can view even after our death?
So, obviously metaverse is a expanding field. It's a developing field, and therefore there's a lot of work going on. Every couple of months we hear something new that is being used to develop it. So I would like to break it down into a couple of major chunks as we are progressing in. So obviously blockchain is the backbone of, what is being created in the metaverse today, simply because the technology is being used to secure digital content and data in the metaverse. It's also playing a role in decentralizing the metaverse, right? Which all of us are hopefully a very firm believer in. that avoids delays, avoids single point of failure, essentially acts as a ledger of sorts, right? For all your communication activities, and just about everything that you do in the space. But apart from that, obviously, artificial intelligence is another major, major tech behind it. This is something that we'll probably delve into a little later on this chat. But AI is playing a very core role in developing bots and chatbots today in the real world, right? That's bringing intelligence to computer vision. But I remember I was reading this report by BCG, the Boston Consulting Group, not even 10% of the companies are using significant amount of AI today in the world to further, their tech prowess. But AI's processing capabilities can technically create a lot of benefits in the metaverse, right? It can create avatars, it can enhance characteristics of digital humans to make them more lifelike, and it can be applied to non-player characteristics as well, right? When you're in the gaming environments. So AI is going to play a very big role. Internet of Things is going to play a very big role, right? I mean, it will allow virtual spaces to seamlessly access and interact with the real world. It will allow Metaverse to provide the 3D user interface to its users. Extended reality is going to play a very, very major role in AR, VR, mixed realities. These technologies are currently transforming the way businesses visualize and use data by shifting from 2D today to 3D for a more realistic experience for people who are getting involved, right? With AR glasses, for example, they become more mainstream. What happens is computer vision will help people understand the environment and locate the right information. Extended reality is already being used, for example, in Microsoft's HoloLens. It's allowing users to experience 3D holographic images as though they are part of the environment. And obviously, a lot of metaverses are being built using 3D, right? Take Oculus is a great example of just the magnificent things you can do. I'll give you a very simple example. Remember a couple of years ago, we were all playing that game wherein on our phone screens, we would slash those fruits, right? It's called Fruit Ninja. Now, today, a similar game is in virtual reality on your Oculus. It's called Beat Saber. It's an excellent game for any of you who actually have an Oculus headset. It essentially allows you to, move / exercise at the same time. I'm really sorry. I'm really close to an airport. It's a military airport in Jodhpur. So you're going to hear this plane passing, but I promise it will go in a second. Apart from Internet of Things, extended reality, blockchain, you'll see 3D modeling and reconstruction, right? 3D reconstruction is capturing the shape and appearances of real objects and is making metaverse a reality. The technology is including tools like 3D modeling to provide framework, prototype of specific products, etc. And for your perspective, the global 3D reconstruction technology market is slated to go up to $2 billion till 2028. And that's just for a chunk of the market that it is in an overall pie. It's huge, right? And lastly, but not the least, spatial and edge computing, right? Spatial computing is combining AR, VR, mixed reality today to interact with the real world, right? And that's the most exciting part about this. And with edge computing, it can provide quick response time to user actions and mimic reality in a sense, right? To keep users immersed in the metaverse. So all of these things are obviously very important, and these technologies are propelling the metaverse. And apart from that, from a software perspective, to design all of this, I think most of the metaverses are using Unity and Unreal Engine, right? On top of these technologies to design these beautiful universes of sorts from scratch.
So obviously our next question was, what are the softwares that are needed for Metaverse? So in case someone is wanting to learn more on the Metaverse space or be a part of this university, universally be a part of this, how and what are the, what is it that they should know about?
So, I'm going to leave the computing answer behind because, kind of covered that in the last one with blockchain, spatial tech, 3D modeling, extended reality, etc. From a design perspective, most companies are using Unity and Unreal Engine. Unreal obviously happens to add more photorealism to the design as opposed to Unity. Now, think of this as a difference between what Sandbox has created vis-a-vis what, if you were to check out, I'll give you an example of my own company, Vault Hill. Check out what Vault Hill is doing vis-a-vis what Sandbox is doing. So, Unreal tends to make it more AAA game level, which I think has to be the goal, right? And absolutely. I know a lot of companies are also moving completely photoreal, to be able to mimic the real world image into the metaverse as well. Of course, it requires a lot of time, effort. Designers such as people on this call, etc., will be able to come develop the resources to be able to create this. But largely, these are the engines being used.
Fantastic. So, is there a lot of coding also involved for metaverse? So, do you
the metaverse is creating a whole host of new job prospects, for techies. Some of the world's most powerful and important tech firms are actually spending big on creating the metaverse, right? Take Meta, for example. We obviously can be certain that, metaverse will always require engineers, developers, programmers. So whether you're coding for augmented reality, you're coding for virtual reality, you're in blockchain or cryptocurrency, you'll need to be familiar with a variety of programs, right? And development languages to contribute to the creation of this. So, think C++, Java, Python, just about everything under the sun is being used today. So, if you're a techie, if you know coding, best time to get into development of the stage. Like we discussed, markets are down. This is the best time to enter a brand new field that's going to overtake, our discourse over the next 5 to 7 years. So great time to be getting into all of this if you're a techie.
So typically, how much time does it take to learn and understand this complete field?
So see, I'm not a techie from background. So obviously learning the language is something that you would have, theoretically learned in school, etc., right, in colleges, and then, joined some of the other big tech firms. From a learning to do it differently from metaverse platform, I don't think the learning curve is that high, right? Simply because the technology is so new and new ideas are being pulled in. My thesis actually is that whenever new people come into this field, they add a brand new dimension to what is being developed that the last person hadn't thought of, right? So I won't say that the learning curve is very big. Obviously, I'm assuming learning C++ and Java takes its own time. So that's completely separate. But to use your skills from current Web 2.0 and moving into metaversal Web 3.0, I don't think it's a very big curve. I think it's largely a curve of understanding how decentralization works and leaving behind the principles of the current 2.0 web ecosystem, right? So as long as you're willing to embrace the decentralized nature of projects and how it's not top down but all at the same level, I think the curve is pretty smooth.
Fantastic. So users who want to shift can take this advice and explore more. Absolutely. Now, how does does metaverse really need AI?
So, I'm glad we're touching this in more detail. Obviously, experts are predicting that the metaverse will be based on many essential technologies. Some of them are going to be, 5G communication, extended reality, brain-computer interfaces, cloud computing, blockchain, of course, digital twins, and artificial intelligence. Of all the emerging technologies, I think AI may be the most crucial piece of the metaverse puzzle, thanks to, because this can essentially propel what is being built to scale, right? So I think deep learning based software will likely power most interactions autonomously with, chatbots along with other types of natural language processing engines, etc., that are supporting all kind of exchanges in this new extended reality space. AI will also enable machines behind the metaverse to not only understand users' inputs from text to images and even videos, for example, but will also respond correctly regardless of the user's input language, right? So this will obviously require a huge amount of data and training, such as advanced NLP models, etc. And this is likely to take years. But what artificial intelligence does, it kind of fast forwards the entire curve, right? So that's what it's likely to do. In metaverse technology and development, therefore, AI is not just a necessary tool, in my opinion, but, in the areas of computer vision and natural language processing, but also in VR, augmented reality, this is going to play a pivotal role. For example, in AR technology from AI can actually be used in camera calibration, right? It can be used in detection tracking or movement tracking, pose estimation, for example, immersive rendering or real world object identification, 3D object reconstruction. The possibilities are just endless. So AI is going to be obviously extremely important in taking what is being built by us today and just moving it to scale, in the future.
Fantastic. So the next question I'm going to ask is mostly asked to us by students when we go for, sessions or we do seminars in the colleges. This is a very common.
Has to be about money. Let me guess.
No, it's not about money. It is that they would like to know whether metaverse can actually exist without crypto.
Um, Theoretically, yes, because the metaverse, is essentially a mixed reality layer on top of what is of our existing zone, right? Of our existing experience. So theoretically, yes, it does not really require crypto, but keep crypto aside and think of blockchain more than crypto. Why is it that every metaverse company is essentially also blockchain company? Because it's using crypto as a tool to invite and reward its users for their time. Right now, I think this is something we discussed a couple of months ago as well, Rekha. What is the difference largely between 2.0 and 3.0, right? Today, what happens,
Right.
and take any social media company, you and I are spending hours and hours of our day on Instagram, scrolling through, on YouTube, watching videos. We never really get rewarded outside the content that we watch, right? Who makes money? Essentially, the brand makes money, the company makes money, the platform makes money. What Web 3.0 is essentially telling you is that we are going to decentralize everything, right? Wherein the ownership of assets rests with you, the user, and not the company. Like, we all upload our pictures on Instagram. Do you know that you don't really own your pictures on Instagram? Instagram owns your pictures once they've been uploaded, because that's the terms and conditions at 100 pages that you never really read but clicked agree on.
Right.
You don't really own your data, right? Your data is monetized by Facebook. It used to be a little better. Now every third picture is an ad. You scroll after every 3 pictures, it says your end of your feed. Now please start looking at ads. On your stories, you click on 1, 2, third story. The fourth story is actually an ad, right? And you and I could be talking about something. 5 minutes later, you'll see an ad on one of these social platforms. It's genuinely quite scary of the amount of data we've given them. And none of us have rights to monetize it, right? 3.0 lets you monetize it. And that's where Metaverse is also being built. It's being built as a decentralized function, wherein on a decentralized layer, wherein all the data that you have, your avatars, your interactions, your land that you buy in the metaverse, right? Or the buildings that you build in the metaverse, or the tokens that you trade, they're all owned by you. You decide what you want to do with them. You own the proof of concept. You own the proof of ownership on the blockchain, and therefore it can't be taken away from you, right? There are companies, for example, that are setting up ad servers today that ask you permission to share your data and then incentivize you for sharing that data, right? So if you're going to go visit 5 news websites and that's the data that helps an ad platform show you an ad, you should get the money for watching that ad and not just the platform, right? Or at least there should be an even split or something of that sort. So I think, that's what the metaverse is trying to build. So don't correlate metaverse to crypto. That's a bad example. Does metaverse require blockchain to build on it? Yes, it does, because the interactions inside, trading NFTs, buying land, require that proof of transaction which lives on the blockchain. So that's quite required. But technically, without crypto, yes, you can build it.
Fantastic. Now, the most common question again is, how do you make money on the metaverse without any investment? So,
my hunch was not completely wrong then, right?
Absolutely.
There are several ways to, for users to make money in the metaverse, right? I mean, including you can host events, you can design virtual spaces, you can invest in cryptocurrencies, etc. You can trade, you can flip them, right? The prices of metaverse digital assets, such as virtual real estate, other NFTs are rapidly increasing, decreasing. There's a full cycle. Last year, the prices were something else. Today, the prices are something else. But, it's a circle of life. Market goes up, market goes down. Market is likely to go back up again. So, making money is a good option in the metaverse due to all of these blockchain elements that are included in. Many metaverse businesses and companies are looking for individuals in marketing, designing, content writing, 3D development skills. So even if you don't want to buy land and flip it, or you don't want to buy tokens and flip them, or you don't want to invest in hosting events in the metaverse after buying a piece of land, or you can still design, write, work with these companies and make money. So not just from a trading perspective, metaverse also allows you to make from a job perspective, right? Because there is more than enough opportunities today coming in, everything from designing, coding, like we discussed, tech side of things, marketing side of things in the metaverse today.
Absolutely. And how much does it cost to actually start a metaverse if I want to create my own?
So I don't know if I can give you the correct answer to this, but you could theoretically start something as little as 10, 15 grand and go up to 300, $400,000. It really depends on how complex a universe you're trying to create, right? If it's just pieces of land with blockchain plugged in without great graphics, etc., you could still be able to do it pretty cheaply. But if you're trying to create a great virtual world, which is high poly, which is very photorealistic, which is using the latest technology, then obviously it's going to cost a fair bit of money to create this. And I think that's why, also to plug it back to the earlier question that you had, I think that's why also crypto has come in, because in absence of great amount of VC funding to every single company that's starting out, I think crypto has been sort of that crowdfunding that has propelled a lot of these platforms, right? I mean, I know so many companies that have raised funds from user markets like you and me by selling tokens, right? And though that money has been used to start creating these metaverses. So, so you could start something relatively cheaply, but I think, crypto then lets you raise funds without going to institutional investors pretty early on.
Sure. Being a marketing person yourself, what would you say? How will the metaverse actually affect marketing? Will it really affect, or do you think it would not majorly affect marketing?
I think it will absolutely change the way we market. Now, what is, and I'm very passionate about this, so I'm going to take an extra minute on this.
Absolutely.
What are we doing in marketing today? For the longest time, our marketing, and I'm coming from India, of course, most of us are, for the longest time, our marketing was coming from where? We were marketing on bus stops, we were marketing on airports, we were marketing in newspapers, which we still do, in magazines, etc. We were really doing everything, on ground. Then at some point we moved digital. What did we start to do? We started marketing on social media platforms. We started creating advertisements on websites. At some point, we started experimenting with Snapchat, etc. So, you would have seen कि movie marketing के अंदर we started creating AR filters. That was literally the extent of how innovative we got, right? So, yes, there were more ideas. Some or the other things may have been done. You would have seen कभी PVR के सामने उन्होंने, I remember when Avatar, etc. came, they put those 3D floor renderings. So you thought that you were entering Pandora. But, apart from that, we didn't really do much, right? In our marketing, we have never been able to give that experience to people, right? Now, give a bad example perhaps, but why is it that your Apple showrooms across the world offer that experience that a lot of other brands are not able to? And that's why they sell the way they do at the cost at which they do, right? Because any one of you who's ever entered an Apple showroom abroad, you would notice that it's a mammoth space with hundreds of thousands of instruments lying on the floor, which allows you to go play, experiment, literally spend a day there and come back with an iPhone, right? Because that's a experience in a physical location it's able to provide. What is Metaverse going to do? Metaverse, for a marketer specifically, is going to allow brands to create these experience for your audiences, right? I don't want you to just buy a TV. I want you to experience this TV in virtual reality and then decide that you want to buy it, right? It's this immersive experience that virtual reality, extended reality, augmented reality, and metaverse in general is going to allow us marketers to do. It's going to be insane. So if I were to tomorrow sell you Avatar, how am I going to sell you an Avatar? The movie, the James Cameron movie. How will I sell you a ticket? I would show you a trailer. You will watch the trailer on YouTube. You would remember कि आपने पिछली Avatar picture देखी थी, बहुत अच्छी लगी थी आपको. अब ये नया trailer आया है. It's all about water, etc. It's a great immersive experience. So I'm going to go watch that movie, right? Now imagine if this movie was around you before you went to watch it. Your experience is just going to change completely, right? And that marketing power that you're going to get by creating these extensive experiences that were not possible till a couple of years ago is going to just essentially change the game. Right now, imagine you have to today take a car or take a taxi, take an auto, go to the mall. Mall mein you see a Nike showroom, you go, you try out shoes. You've spent X amount of money to go try out the shoes and then buy the shoes. Yeah, your cost is not just the shoe. Your cost is getting ready at home, the time that you spend in this entire activity of going, coming back. Half a day is gone if you want to go to a mall today. We all live in really badly trafficked cities. You're also spending time traveling, etc. Now, all of that's going to get cut down because you can go visit a virtual mall, try on virtual shoes and decide just out of hundreds and thousands of pairs that the brand can also not keep in a showroom, right? It's a limited space showroom. He'll at best keep 100 pairs. He can't keep 1,000 options there for you. But this metaverse will allow you to do that, right? And therefore, for marketeers, it's just going to be, it's an absolute game changer. And you will start seeing the effects of this slowly and gradually as more and more brands come in. You've obviously heard that a lot of brands are experimenting into this, right? Everyone wants to, what are brands doing today? I mean, they're not doing anything great. They're just trying to create a space for themselves first, right? The first opportunity is land grab. Every brand wants to come in, keep their own land so that they can start building their own stores. But over a period, and obviously some art is being sold, NFTs are being sold, and you can experience them in the metaverse. But over a period of time, you will see that a lot of these brands are creating very unique experiences for their audiences. And these unique experiences are now transcending borders also, right? Now, as a brand, I can invest X amount of money in creating an experience in one physical location. If I have to replicate it around the world in every major city, that's a whole host of cost for me, right? But now in the metaverse, that cost goes away completely because I have to set up an experience once. And globally, audiences can, plug into that experience without really having to, without for the brand to having to spend the money to take the experience, or for the user to go where that experience is in whatever part of the world, right? So for a marketer, this is just an absolute game changer, because that investment that you would have made in localization can now go in creating something really experiential.
Absolutely. You're full of energy. You were full of energy when you replied for this. I think it's because it's your core competencies.
My core competency, and this is what I'm really excited about, because we talk to, I handle marketing, growth, partnerships, etc. Right? So I get to talk to a lot of brands. A couple of weeks ago, I was in Dubai, and we were at the Dubai Design Week, and we had a booth there. So a lot of brands, a lot of people, a lot of architects, for example, they came to meet us, and everyone wanted to first. Ours is a developed metaverse, right? I mean, you can wear the headset and go inside today and check it out. So, a lot of people, when they go inside for the first time, their experience is just so much different than what you see on screen, right? I can show you a video of what the metaverse looks like, but once you actually wear the headset and go inside and you feel the scale and you feel just how immersive that experience is, remember the first time we saw a 3D movie? How different and how great it felt, because the voice seemed like it was coming from here. Or remember the first time we had a 4D experience wherein a little bit of mist of water made us feel like, oh my God, we're in the water. But now imagine going inside this virtual reality and realizing your world is just completely upside down, right? And how it can change. So at this Dubai Design Week, a lot of brands came to us, and we started explaining to them what is it that they can do and how can they target a brand new set of audiences that they didn't have access to in their physical space, right? And how they can create experiences for these audiences. And the response was just absolutely overwhelming. And I think that's what's important, and that's why more and more headsets, when they start coming in, when Oculus has a couple in the market. I know HTC has a couple in the market. Rumors are that Apple is likely to launch something in 2023. I think everyone in my industry is waiting with bated breath for Apple to launch their headsets, because their products get mass adoption on day one without really, irrespective of the cost. But rumors are that Apple is actually introducing mixed reality headsets and not just VR, so which will be another game changer. So when more and more these headsets come out, some of them will be affordable, more people will join the bandwagon. I think we'll start seeing a huge adoptive curve pretty much immediately.
Absolutely. So now, since we've spoken about marketing, what do you think? How is Metaverse actually going to change the influencer marketing? So there's a lot of, influential marketing is in trend, and a lot of brands actually, are, more and more getting into influencer marketing. So what do you think? Is there going to be a great, change or great input that the influencers are going to get because of the Metaverse?
So let me answer this in two parts. And I come from a media background. So, I've also been actively involved in influencer marketing, my entire career, more or less. So when a brand goes to an influencer to market their product, what are they essentially trying to do? They're essentially trying to use the influencer to sell that product. Right? Now, if it's a shampoo, if it's a sari, if it's a movie ticket, if it's a pair of shoe, the influencer is essentially telling its audiences that, oh, listen, I love this shaving cream. It was great for me. Look at how beautiful my face looks. Not mine, the influencers. Look at how beautiful my face looks, and therefore you should also buy this shaving cream, right? Now, what he's doing essentially, he's acting as a recommender. a recommendee, right? He's essentially recommending the product to his audiences.
Absolutely.
In the hope that my recommendation carries a lot of weight because I am somebody you love and you respect and you care about, and therefore you will buy this product. And that's why the brand pays an obscene amount of money to the influencer. Now, will that continue to happen when the metaverse comes in? Yes, because these influencers now have like I said earlier, an experience to sell to the audiences and not just a video. On the other side, what metaverse and all this avatar technology is essentially going to do is it's also going to create virtual influencers, right? You will see that in China, in Japan, in Korea, this is already starting to become popular, wherein influencers have been created by AI. They're not real people. They're essentially what the AI determines that this particular set of audiences will respond to. The AI then creates this avatar that starts to gather followers, essentially becomes an influencer, and then starts marketing products. I don't have the exact name for you, but I'm happy to find it and send it later. But I know for a fact that in Japan, Korea, even in China, the virtual influencers are actually starting to become prominent. One or two have reached a pretty critical level as well. And there are some companies that are actually actively developing these. And I think that will be the next growth phase in a sense for influencer marketing, wherein you can not just market in the metaverse, but you can actually create your own influencers, which will absolutely perfectly appeal to your target audiences. And I think this is going to be a game changer in influencer marketing space.
Absolutely. Marketing is the field itself is very vast, and there's a lot of development like 10 years back. And now when you see, there's a lot of development that you see. And I think a lot of positive developments, which is definitely creating a lot of buzz in the industry.
And you know why that is? That's because your marketing essentially mimics your human growth, right? Because technologically, our tastes are evolving so rapidly.
Absolutely.
Today a 2-year-old kid can teach you how to operate a phone. You don't have to tell him, right? जब मैं छोटा होता था हमें तो पता ही नहीं था फोन क्या होता था. मेरे पापा के पास तो वो बड़ा वाला जो पत्थर वाले पहले फोन आए थे ना इतने बड़े बड़े वो थे सबसे पहले. हमें तो हाथ नहीं लगाने देते थे पापा की गिर जाएगा तेरी टांग टूटेगी. बट आजकल 2 साल के बच्चे को पता है कि वीडियो गेम कैसे खेलते हैं, राइट? नाउ बिकॉज आवर ह्यूमन नीड्स आर इवॉल्विंग so fast technologically. I think that's what's leading to your marketing. As a marketer, you have to keep up, right? If there's a new trend, like we were the first ones to get onto Snapchat and start creating AR filters, right? I mean, you have to keep experimenting. You have to keep doing something new. And I think today technology is allowing you to do those experiments at a very rapid scale. And I think that's what's extremely important. And that's what's leading this growth curve.
Absolutely. Now, coming to a few questions that have come into me, there are a few people in the group who would like to know, are there any regulators which are already ready for Metaverse? Do we have any regulators or, anything like that, which is already there and that ready for Metaverse in the industry? Or is it like everybody creates their own set of
rules,
experience and rules, and how does it work? Or is there a set pattern?
So currently where we are at, I think it's as a brand, you have the opportunity to create your own set of guidelines and rules. However, there are a couple of metaverses that have joined together to create a metaverse alliance that essentially wants to, draw some basic guidelines of things that you can and you can't do. I'm a firm believer of the fact that anything that you should not be allowed to do in the real world, you should not do in the virtual world as well, right? So I think those guidelines of human nature need to be followed. But apart from that, there are a lot of countries that have created crypto guidelines, token guidelines, trading guidelines, but not everyone has created metaversal guidelines as such. I'm sorry, but I think that's something that's going to be done as and when this starts adopting critical mass. Today, what's happening is very limited number of people are also using these metaverses, right? Because the access to headsets, etc., is limited. But I believe as and when this starts, expanding, rules and regulations will also start coming in. And a lot of this will also be led by the headset providers because, they do really enforce a lot of these regulations as well. So that's going to happen again, as more of these play stores, etc., start coming into picture.
Absolutely. So moving on now, since you mentioned the headsets, there's one question which has come to me, which is about how do I get to the metaverse without VR? So without a AR or a VR set, how do I get into metaverse? And
So
how
there's
would be the experience? Will it be the same as wearing a AR VR, or would it be different?
So in a nutshell, the experience will not be the same, simply because the experience of virtual reality that you get from the immersion, you're not going to be able to be very honest, get on a computer screen. Having said that, a lot of companies are investing in Web 3D apart from just VR, simply because I think most people are very conscious of the fact that, and acutely aware of the fact that your headset adoption is going to take some time. And therefore, most of companies are starting to create similar experiences on Web 3D as well. To give an example of my own company, while we have a virtual reality headset, we are also trying to create a same experience on Web 3D as well, so that people, so at least, the barrier of entry gets lowered and removed, right? Because then more people can experiment or experience the Web 3D aspect of it, walk around, feel it, see what is in store for them, how buildings operate, what are the laws of this new universe, etc., and then figure out if they want to invest in a in a headset. So yes, a lot of companies are doing this. If you were to go to Google and say, hey, listen, Web 3D metaverses, you'll definitely get a list of companies that you could potentially go and start experimenting with. It doesn't have any barrier of entry. Just have to create an account and start experiencing it, and then you can decide how much of an investment do you want to make in the headset.
In the headset, absolutely. Going on, I would, there is one question which has come. Are there any challenges that are faced in the metaverse?
You mean in the creation of the metaverse?
Yeah, in the creation of the metaverse. So I think we need to ask Deepak to define this a bit better.
But
So he's just asked, what challenges does the metaverse face?
So from a creation standpoint, of course, it's a brand new thing to do. It's a time-consuming, resource-extensive thing to create, right? So everything from design to actually developing it in, Unreal or Unity, to then coding for it and, creating that experience inside virtual reality. It's obviously a very time-consuming thing. It doesn't happen in 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. I mean, this is a multi-year. Most of these projects are multi-year projects simply because it's a very, think of a AAA game, right? How long does it take for a company to create a game? A very long time. So similar experiences are now being created that allow you to, and in a game, your experiences are still fixed, right? You can use this gun a certain way. You can't really go beyond that. But in the metaverse, because it's mimicking your human life, there's a lot more that you can do. So yes, of course, it's challenges are there in terms of resources, in terms of creation. Funding is a challenge right now because of how how markets are behaving, and so therefore investor sentiment across board is low, right? Not just in one category of metaverse or crypto. I think across board in startups, etc., investor sentiment is quite low right now, to be very honest, right? So I think all of those things factor in, and your resources are then crunched, and you're trying to get more out of limited resources. But having said that, these are all challenges that are solvable in that sense, or you can deal with them over a long-term period, and that's what I think most companies are trying to do. They're trying to create experiences that enable, show proof of concept, fund themselves better, approach many more VCs, etc., to get more funding, and then try to create, good experiences for its audiences. From a consumer perspective, I think the biggest challenge right now is adoption. Cost of getting that headset is very high. So therefore, not everyone can get access to it. But I believe slowly and gradually over the next couple of years, that cost is going to become substantially lower, simply because the more people start to come in, the companies or the headset OEM manufacturers would then see the benefit in subsidizing the cost to be able to recover the money from experiences later, right? So I think that's what's going to happen over long term.
Sure. Saurabh has a specific question in terms of wanting to know, what do you think? I mean, do you think that metaverse was going to replace reality?
No, nothing can replace reality. Metaverse, think of it as a new experience on top of your current layer, right? Our world today is on this plane. What metaverse is essentially doing is, it's not trying to interfere in this world. What the metaverse is doing is, hey, listen, you already have this world, but you're using internet on top, right? What metaverse is saying is, on this internet, we're going to add a layer of experience. So today, if you're scrolling through your phone like this, what metaverse is going to do is it's going to add an experience to that scroll, right? So instead of consuming internet on a computer or on your phone in a very 2D environment, you will now have an immersive 3D environment to do similar tasks or the same tasks in the metaverse. The metaverse is not trying to replace your physical life. My mother will still be my mother. My sister will still be my sister. My father will still yell at me despite how old I get in life if I do something that he doesn't like. That's not going to change. Yes, but the time that you're spending on your screen today will now be divided into the screen vis-a-vis the 3D screen of sorts, right? So that's what Metaverse is trying to do. There is absolutely no replacement of real life. All those movies, Matrix, Ready Player, Me, right? Tron, all of those movies that we have seen that kind of take you in a different zone, I don't think we are getting there in our lifetime for sure. I hope, at least, yeah.
Absolutely. So if we had to sum this up and say, is Metaverse a real good thing for us? So what would your piece of advice be? How do you foresee Metaverse growing in our daily life?
Absolutely. Is this the thing that we need? 100% we need. And I'll tell you why. Simply because in the last 10 to 15 years, our internet has not evolved. Our experience on the internet has not evolved. We are still reading news on websites wherein it's a one-way read, right? We're not interacting with it. Our interaction today comes a little bit on social media, but that's also very limited. That experience of the internet has not been provided, and this has to be the next logical progression of the internet. I'm a firm believer of the fact that अभी जो हमारे इंटरनेट ने अचीव किया है पिछले 10-15 सालों में, Metaverse is going to take that to the next level, right? It's going to help us in marketing, it's going to help us in sales, it's going to help brands to create experiences for their customers. It's just going to change the game on how we interact with the internet, which is extremely important because this is the evolution, right? I mean, this is how internet evolves for us. Is it going to happen in the next 6 months, 1 year, 2 years? No, it's not. Mass adoption of something so critical takes time. Good players will come in, bad players will come in, some will fail, some will do well, and eventually gems will come over the next 5 to 7 years that will just show you how your life was. I promise you, you know, one day we'll go have this conversation and we'll go back to say, तुम्हें याद है कि हमने 2022 में बात की थी और हमने कहा था देखो कितना बदल जाएगा और अभी देखो 2025 में हम क्या कर रहे हैं, right? So I think that's what's going to happen. We're going to be having these experiences inside a shared space in virtual reality, wherein this conversation between us is not going to be this 2D, but it's going to be you sitting next to me and me talking to you and, you know, sitting in our own homes. So I think this experience is going to come from the metaverse, and this is the big change. Once brands see and people see, it will likely lead to massive adoption.
Now, if he's spoken about the good parts, the last question that I would want to conclude this session with is, do you see or do you think that in some way metaverse could be a problem too?
So metaverse in itself can't be a problem, right? Because the metaverse की तो क्या ही गलती है, वो तो क्या ही कर लेगा. The problem is us humans. We have to go and ensure that we don't break the laws in the metaverse, right? I mean, again, look at what has happened, you know, with all of these exchanges in the last couple of months. It's not the exchange that has gobbled up the money. It's not the exchange that has destroyed the markets. It's humans and their greed that has done whatever it has done, right? So if you and I today follow traffic rules, but if inside the metaverse we refuse to follow traffic rules or any kind of rules, then who is to be blamed? So I think it is important, therefore, from that perspective, to have, like I said earlier, the laws that we have to follow in real life, we should also be made to follow in the virtual world, because that, you know, that common human decency has to exist, right? So as long as that exists, I don't see there'll be a problem. Is Metaverse going to become alive and eat us? No, that's not likely to happen. I'm sorry. AI is not going to come alive and, you know, eat us one day. Or, you know, what was that movie with Will Smith, right? When robots had taken over. So, you know, I don't think that's going to happen. But yes, but we have to be very careful that we are following rule of law, that we are not letting companies take advantage of us, that we are being very careful with our data. Right? I mean, most of the people who are also entering the metaverse or are using crypto today are investing in assets. So you have to have the ownership of your assets. You have to ensure that your keys are safe with you so that nobody else could run away with your money theoretically, right? So I think to that extent, we have to ensure that community guidelines are in place and we are able to monitor ourselves so that governments don't have to interfere. But apart from that, metaverse in itself, no, I personally don't see that it's, now it's accepted that we are going to spend X amount of time on our screens. This is just replacing that screen with something else. So,
Absolutely. And what's the right age? Parag would like to know what's the right age to introduce kids to the metaverse.
Again, this is up to an individual and their choice. From my experience, when we were in Dubai and we were presenting our platform to, virtual reality experience to people, we did not allow anybody under the age of 14 to come in. Not just A, because, kids are too young, B, also because the experience is very heavy on the eyes, right?
Okay.
It's a heavily computed experience, visual experience. So we did not want to expose kids' retinas to be example to that experience, but we allowed everybody over the age of 14. But I guess
there's no such rule or anything that
currently there is no such rule.
Nothing.
Currently there is no such rule.
Okay, fantastic, great. So I think we squared off with all the questions and it was really interesting. Piyush, I think we need to have more sessions with you.
Yes, we absolutely need to have more sessions and we need to have more fun sessions also.
Absolutely. Maybe next time we can plan something more virtual, something which you can show us some of your, maybe you can even show your platform and give us a bit of experience without the headsets, of course.
Absolutely. So, we are creating a Web 3D version of it, which should be ready, very soon. So hopefully by that time, if it's ready, then I would love to give you a demo of how the metaverse actually works in at least Web 3D if you don't have the headset. If any of you have the virtual reality headset, please write to me separately. You can find me on LinkedIn, Piyush Bhatia, and I'll be happy to, at least get you access to, to the metaverse to see, what's happening inside.
I'll write to you. I do have headsets at home, so.
Great.
Fantastic. So it was great interacting with you, Piyush. Thanks for taking out your time on your holiday and, praising us with such an interesting stuff on Metaverse and Web 3.0. I also thank the wonderful audience for showing interest in learning and making informed decisions in the Metaverse and Web 3.0 space. Thank you so much. It was great, Piyush. Let's connect offline too. Thank you so much.
As always, it was great chatting with you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Bye. Have a nice day.